Financial wellness. Reach out to them for advice at 855-DON-GINO. And now back to your hosts, Don Getling and Gino Fronti.
Tim, Mr. Bob Kellar, thank you for joining us again, buddy.
Thank you once again. It's always a pleasure to be with you, gentlemen.
Very cool. See, this isn't always about finance. Now, we will talk about real estate because you kind of do real estate on the side. Nobody does real estate on the side.
I've been doing it now since 1991.
Wow, 1991. And you've had Kellar Davis now since 2000?
2000.
So you guys are going on your 15-year anniversary, what, in June?
It's actually in the month of June. Very good. I'm impressed.
All right, do a little homework, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I was going to your office a long time ago when I was just a mere kidlin.
You know, one of the things that I think about, we talk about personal and financial wellness. And when you talk to Bob, he's talking about these, I'm not going to call them global issues, but they're citywide issues that affect, and you know what we talked about last time, they end up affecting property taxes in one way, shape, or form or another.
Big time.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, these are huge multi-million-dollar situations that our city has to deal with that I think a lot of us walk around aimlessly, not even thinking these things are going on in the background.
That's why we bring Bob. Bob always gives us a really good insight of what's happening in our community, what's important to our community right now, what changes are happening to our community, and we thank you for that because you're always in the know and you've put years and years of support both as a vet, LAPD officer, and now as a mayor. You just can't get away from us, huh?
You know, I probably need therapy if the truth were known. I don't know.
Yeah, you probably are about right? It's public service, and we thank you for that.
All right, so which direction do we want to start with first? Because we have some great topics. Of course, the city budget coming up. The high-speed rail is always a hot topic. We're excited about having the Amgen tour back in town. So where do you want to start?
You know what? You give me that opportunity, I'll take advantage of it. I would like to make mention, if I may, like to comment about a couple of people that have been so instrumental in the development of the Santa Clarita, not just the city, but the Santa Clarita Valley, if I may, because one of them just recently passed away this past Saturday evening, and assuming, is that okay if I...
Yeah, absolutely. Bring it up. Well, this is important, and I hope you're paying attention because this is a unique community that is our own little bubble, and everybody can literally affect this community. Unlike a lot of communities where you're basically anonymous, here you can make a big statement in the growth because remember, I've been out here since '76. You've been out here forever. This town was very, very small. 2-lane roads everywhere, a bunch of onion fields and carrot fields. People forget that there was no mall here a while ago.
Yeah, that's a fact.
We've been building this city with great individuals like the individuals you're going to bring up today.
Yep. I'm going to tell a brief story.
I'm like
very
stories.
brief because it's about me, but it's what led me to get to know these folks that I want to touch base on. As you indicated a moment ago, I was on the LAPD for 25 years, and also during many of those years, I enjoyed it as a pastime activities with horses. I had as many as 12 horses was the most I ever had, but certainly if you've got two, you've got too many. But in any event, enjoyed them very much. And so there was a police officer I knew that worked Hollywood years ago. His name escapes me. Dennis Farnham. And he had a security company out here. He had retired and knew Dennis from, like I say, when we worked together in Hollywood many years ago. And he called me one day at about 1985 or 86. Hey, Bob, this is Dennis. I said, yeah, Dennis, how you doing? Well, hey, I'm doing well. Listen, I hope you don't mind. He said, you know, I'm the president of the Canyon Country Chamber of Commerce. I said, well, I knew you were involved in the community. That's great. He said, well, listen, we've got a Frontier Days coming up. And I said, well, of course, I'm familiar with Frontier Days. It was an event that was sponsored and carried out by the Canyon Country Chamber. He said, boy, Bob, he said, I really need somebody to help with the rodeo. And I was wondering if you'd consider getting on board and maybe being like a co-chair or something. And honestly, I had to think about that one about 2 seconds. I said, you just dialed the right guy. You got it. And I got to tell you, had more fun. The next year, I was the chairman of the rodeo, and subsequently was for the next probably 7, 8, 9 years. But this is my point. This is what opened the door to my involvement with the community. I got involved with the Canyon Country Chamber. And by the way, they merged with the Santa Clarita Valley Chamber in July 1995. I was the last outgoing president of the Canyon Country Chamber. But over those years, I met so many remarkable people in our community, and I was so enjoyed my association with them immensely. And two of them was Connie Warden Roberts, and another one was George Pedersen, who would subsequently become one of our council members in 1992 and was the mayor of our city in 1994 when we had the 94 earthquake.
Right.
And I will tell you, George was a 30-year veteran of the LA County Sheriffs, retired as a commander, and he definitely had very fine leadership abilities, and he played a major, major role in working with staff and the city manager and getting us through a very difficult time.
Very difficult.
In the 94 earthquake.
Yeah, I
And
mean, we were
all
closed
remember
off, yeah.
everything was closed off. But before the sun went down, we had depots of water for the community. There were people out working immediately and certainly on safety and matters of that kind. And it was all done because City Hall was shut down as well. It was red tagged, and it was all carried out under his leadership and the city manager, George Caravallo at the time, in a tent in the parking lot of City Hall. So I have nothing but the highest regard for George Pedersen. As I indicated, he passed away this past Saturday night, and he was just a remarkable man. I got to know him obviously in the 80s and 90s. I remember he decided, or somebody decided, he was going to do a television show called the By George program on SCV television. And he called me up and he said, "Hey, Bob, I need your help." I said, "Well, how's that?" He said, "Well, I need an Ed McMahon." And he said, "You're going to be
How appropriate.
So
I got one named Gino here.
I would never tell George Pedersen no. I said, you want it, you got it. And so I'd open up this television show and introduce him, and here's George. And we had more fun with that for the next year or two. I don't know, whatever it was. But I could go on and on about him. But what a remarkable man, and I'm so sad that we have lost him.
We join you in our gratitude and thoughts for George Pedersen and his family and stuff, and all he did for our community. And that was nice of you to share that story, because a lot of us aren't involved in that. Like you said, a lot of times you just go kind of about your way going, these guys got this figured out, I'm just going to go to work and come home.
Well, I mean, I do it from a place of trust, right? I do know that we've been a great city and been able to vote great officials in and really have a great history of doing the right thing. Hence why I moved here from the San Fernando Valley. We're different.
Yes.
No
Thank
doubt.
you.
Well, thank you for that. And if you just tuned into the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show, we're sitting here with Bob Kellar. He is Mayor Pro Tem. He's been on our council. He's been a councilman over and over. He's been the mayor of our city 3 times. He's been involved in everything in your city. And I mean that wholeheartedly, because you do see a lot of the same individuals that give a lot of their time. When we go to all these events, Bob, I see you at every one of them. And of course I see some of the usual suspects at a lot of these events. And we appreciate all the time you put into it. I mean, you dedicate a lot of your time. You run a full-blown, let's see, you have 3 or 4 offices now with Keller Davis?
3.
3 offices, okay.
One of them specifically in Friendly Valley, and we know
Right.
you guys
Own that.
definitely dominate that.
No doubt.
Thank you. Take it.
All right, well, you're here with, again, the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show. We're here with Bob Kellar, and he's going over what's happening in the community. It was nice of him to bring up some great history regarding George Pedersen, who just passed away this last Saturday, and how he helped us get through a major time in our city's history with the earthquake and all. And I know we have some more great information regarding Connie Ward Roberts, the Road Warrior, and so much more about what's going on in his community, such as the high-speed rail, Old Town New Hall activities, and so much more. Please don't go away. We'll be right back.